So the healing work is the process of peeling back those layers of denial and coming face to face with our true humanity, coming face to face with our innate capacity to love one another truly as human beings.
Love has to be at the core of what we do. It's love for country, love for community, love for family, and above all, love for in the belief of what we can do together.
The Truth Racial Healing and Transformation Enterprise is fundamentally created to engage people, to bring a level of discourse into this country that will bring people together as opposed to allowing the continued segregation that tears us apart.
When we sit together in circles, when we listen to each other, we begin to recognize that we're all one. Ultimately, we're all one. We're all on this planet trying to find our way, trying to understand how to be present, how to be alive, how to be the best people that we can.
Really what we're talking about is how do people see a wrong and with their own voice and vision and purpose fight to change it. And I think it starts with telling our own stories. Every story is impactful in some way, big or small. We need all of those to really get to where we all aspire to be.
A component of love is understanding. In order to understand, you need to listen. And active listening is the best route.
Love is critical not only to art, love is critical to revolution. You know, Che Guevara once said, at the risk of sounding ridiculous, you can have no revolution without love. Love is where all revolutions begin.
So for me, TRHT is really about getting down to the work that we've needed to get down to for a very long time. But not just doing it from one sector or with one voice or one group of people, but a conversation about truth, and a conversation that leads to accountability, and a conversation that leads to healing, so that we might finally have both racial justice and racial equity in this country.
The best way to engage in the transformative power of racial healing is to ensure that we put ourselves not only in the shoes of another, but as Anna DeVere Smith enjoins us to do, to put ourselves in the words of others different from ourselves.
Truth is very important in the line of work of racial healing and racial equity. How do we right the wrongs in our systems, in our society? How do we heal from these wrongs if we don't face them as facts? How do you achieve solutions if you don't know what the problem is, if you don't recognize that there is a problem?
You are the ones who care. You are the ones who are taking care of the ones who are struggling out there. You're the ones that are making opportunities. And this is an opportunity for you to grow.
I believe that in order to change the narrative, we actually have to change the way people act and behave. Simply retelling a story is not what I think we mean by changing the narrative. I think what we mean is change and then tell the true story.
Narrative change is something that's so important in the way in which the work not only shows up, but how it's understood. The extent to which we frame things in what we call positive relativism versus then framing things in a negative standpoint gives people the encouragement, the hope, and the idea that they can actually change it.
You know, history is not just constructed by those who have the capacity to write great books and great treaties and great letters, but history is constructed every day by everyday people saying in their own voice with authenticity, this is who I am.
We can change narratives on a personal, institution, community level by starting with ourselves. It's so important for each and every one of us to look within, to explore the biases that we have, both those that we're conscious of and the ones that we're unconscious of.
It's the people ultimately the work of truth, racial healing, and transformation, it's about our humanity. It's about people. People developing the capacity, or at least remembering the capacity to see ourselves in one another, to genuinely care for one another, to have empathy that transcends our own group or identity. That's the work that will bring about the public will and the public commitment to create an America that truly lives up to its democratic ideals and principles.
I have to be a believer in healing because suffering is too hard. It is the only thing that gives you hope, is that we can take those moments of suffering and hurt and turn them into moments of true healing and purpose.